Like I couldn't imagine going to a bigger school.
Yeah.
And also like the uniforms, like it may seem like a drag, but it was weird for me, like when I left high school and like going to college, and you're like, oh, what do you, like for us it's like free dress day, like when you get to wear casual clothes, and I was like, well, it's like free dress day every day, what do I wear, you know? But
did you have any idea what you wanted to do as an adult, or
no? So like once I hit high school, like, so football, like I'm not as tall as I should be to play football, and like I wanted to do it, but actually my junior year I tore my ACL, so like that year was crushed, and my senior year I came back and like was just a lineman. I lost a lot of speed and stuff like that. So, you know, in high school I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and I wasn't the greatest student. I was like, you know, I just didn't put that much effort into school because I put so much into football, and I never really thought about like what I was going to do afterwards. So like, you know, it wasn't until I had the same girlfriend through high school, and like we would talk about things, and at that point in your life you like think you're going to be with this person. It's like, oh, okay, like her family came from her sisters were like really well off, and like they went to school. One was a lawyer, one was like a nurse, and
gotcha.
The girl I was dating, she wanted to be a nurse, and I was like looking into like the medical field because like it's really good money, and especially when you come out, like I think you're making like $90K, like that was like back in 2009. Like that's a lot of money.
For sure.
You know, in my head I was just thinking like, let's do something that'll give me a life, right? Like I'll be able to have a family and also like provide for them. So that was the only real like career thing I thought of. Like later, like my senior year and junior year, like my senior year I got a new football coach, and like I was thinking about being a football coach too, and he saw that, and like he invited me to like clinics and stuff like that. It wasn't until, you know, not that I knew it at that point, but like all throughout high school my mom's like, you know, obviously like everything you need is going to be taken care of. I mean, to a limit. Like I wasn't given everything. Like I grew up with like my parents got divorced when I was 5, so my mom was like always making it do, and like, you know, things like that. And but she said like, because I play football, and she was like, once football season's over, I didn't play any other sports after that. She was like, once football season's over your senior year, you got to get a job.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, shit. Like, what do I do? You know? And I had no idea, like, what I wanted to do. Like,
you're like, what's the job?
Yeah, seriously. I was like, hey, seriously? Like, what do you mean? I don't get lunch money from you anymore?
I love that.
And, you know, and then, she gets in this thing where it's like, oh, you got to pay your own insurance for your car and stuff like that. I'm like, damn, like, what do I got to do? Like, so at that point, like, senior season's starting to end, and, like, you know, I was trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And my now sister-in-law, she was the manager at a movie theater called Harkins.
Okay.
And then another family, a friend of ours, was like a dining room manager, catering manager of this retirement facility out in Riverside. And like, so I applied to both. The movie theater one was just like ticket person.
Yeah.
And then my family friend, who's like a dining room manager, was like for a dishwasher. And, you know, I got an interview at the retirement center, and they're like, okay, like, you know, we want you to, like, if you're going to start, you're going to be a dishwasher, like all these things. And at that point, like, I just knew that I had to pay all these bills, and like my mom was like, you got to get a job. So like I couldn't leave
like, whatever, dude,
to get a job.
Whatever.
And I was like, cool, I'll do whatever is necessary. Like I don't mind. You know, I'll do whatever I need to do, because at that point they were like, oh, maybe you could be a server too.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, but you have to start as a dishwasher. I was like, okay, cool. So that was my first job as a dishwasher at this place called Air Force Village West, which is like pretty cool. Like it was cool because, you know, it was I had like gone to school with the same people my whole life, and you kind of like, you're not in a bubble, but like, you know, everybody around you, know, their families and things like that. So like this place was really cool because it was like, there was a lot of people my age or a little bit, maybe a little older, like, but they're all in like college or junior college, and they came from like the public schools and stuff like that. And you just like get to like, you know, meet them, and you're going to like parties after work with them, and like their house parties and stuff like that.
This doesn't happen in my fucking.
I'm like,
that's awesome.
But and then like even the dishwashers at the time, like it was really cool. This guy Andrew Smith and then Ernesto, they were like both around my age, and like this guy Ernesto was like, he used to do. He wanted to be like he wanted to cut hair professionally. Yeah. You know, like at that time, like people were getting like all these
barber,
crazy
baby.
things. Yeah. So like I used to go to his house and get my hair cut in his
like
garage.
When you're Hispanic, it's like a barber or a construction worker. That was the two.
So his mom had a chair. I mean, this is kind of like, it was just cool to be able to like meet these people, right? Like, I think so much of like what we get to do is like, great to be able to cook for people, but then also build relationships.
Yeah, the interaction. Exactly.
You know, and like, you know, he was starting out, and I used to do like stupid stuff with my hair, like mohawks and like stars in my hair and stuff like that, you know, and it's cool. And then you just like meet different people, and you learn so much about like, you know, what it takes, like, you know, for them, like, dishwashing, it's like there was somebody who was a loader and a runner, and then like the person who was collecting everything, and then like the people who are working on like the hard equipment, like all the pots and pans and stuff like that. And there's like, you know, like for me, I came into my first day with like slacks on, and like I didn't know what I was getting into. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I don't need any of this stuff. Like it's like rough in here. Exactly. And like, you know, you're just like, you just need to wash these dishes and like put them all together and be quick and efficient and everything. And it was a really good experience. I think for me, like, a lot of like growing up, like going out to dinner and stuff like that, you always wonder like what was going on in the back, right? Like how those barbecue ribs get on my plate, you know, like what does it take to get to that point? Mm-hmm. And you know, being back there and seeing like, even though for like that place, like the kitchen and stuff like that was like kind of like a catering thing. Like everyone comes in, they know what the menu is, and you had choices, and you put in the order, and they put the plates together, and you run it out to the table.
Heard that.
But, like, you know, there's still a lot of things going on. There's still, like, pretty good kitchen, like, in the sense that, like, they're still cooking, and they're, like, still expediting service and, like, getting through the day and things like that. So it was cool to see that, and there was, like, a lot of, like, things that I saw that was just like, oh, this is, like, what I want to do, you know? Like, the energy, like just the people too, like there's so many cool people you meet. Like at this first job, I ended up being a cook there. Like this is kind of jumping ahead, but like towards my like end of my second stint there, I was like a cook with this one guy who like had worked with Thomas Keller at the Beverly Hills Hotel.
Okay.
And we were in the like kitchen that catered to the elderly who like had digestive issues or like they couldn't chew and things like that. And I just remember this guy like talking about Thomas Keller and like the standards you had to have, and like also like he was just like playing around with food. Like we had Thick and Easy, and like he made like this vegetable terrine using like Thick and Easy and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing right now. Like there's another world out there. You know, but yeah, so like I started as a dishwasher, and then eventually moved up to server, which was like interesting. Like, you know, you learn how to interact with people, and especially like elderly, like there's a certain way. And like, you also learn like, oh, this person, like, you know, Miss Smith likes her soup boiling hot, or they like ice in their Chablis and things like that. You know, like you learn how to anticipate, like, because you get the sections, and everyone sits in the same sections, and if they don't, they get pissed. But it's like they sit in the same section, same table, so you know who you're getting. You know, it's like section 2, you don't want section 2, but like section 3,
a bunch of rowdy old people out there, huh? Damn,
they don't mess around. Well, a lot of it too. They were at that time. It's not that way anymore, but Air Force Village West was for retired military, so a lot of them were like generals and colonels and lieutenants, and or their wives and stuff like that.
Who
so
were straight bosses. In their career.
So they like there was an expectation, right? And there was like a certain type of respect you had to show them too. So it was really cool to learn that, and then like, so as a server in the dining room, and then I moved into being a server in the cafe they had. It was like for people who didn't want to sit down, they just want to grab something and take it to their room. And I just remember like, that's kind of one of the first things I learned. There was this other guy, like I don't remember his name, but he used to like fry herbs and like put it on the tray to like make the food look really good and stuff like that. And I remember like one time I'm like, you know, just like scooping mashed potatoes and things like that into a box for somebody, and like I didn't really think at that point, like, I wasn't thinking this is what I was going to do. I was like, still processing, like, what I want to do. Is like still my senior year, and I had time to like figure out what was next. And I just remember like one person came and they're like looking at the food and they're like, that food looks really ugly and all this stuff. And I was like, what does it matter? Like, you're about to eat it and like, who cares, you know? And for me, it's like, also in that same job, I remember I had this, this lead, or like our shift lead. Yeah. And I remember like sweeping for the first time. We're trying to get out of there. And I was like, all right, well, like, I'm done. She's like checking me out, and she like takes the broom and like goes under all the surfaces, just like goes everywhere. Like, I like never went. And she like, there's this pile of like stuff that I missed, and you're like, wow, okay, like, I suck.
The fucking second sweep.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, this is this is embarrassing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
especially as a Latino.
I know, it's really bad
when you can't sweep, bro. That's not good.
Well, what's even worse is I can't really speak a Spanish that
well.
Oh
my god! You probably get roasted at every family party.
I know. Well, it's terrible. Yeah, it's like when I talk to my tias and tios, it's like there's a very little window of like my comprehension of what they're saying.
Whatever. They don't want to deal with it. That's funny.
Actually, like my grandparents used to argue in Spanish in front of me and my brothers because we didn't know Spanish.
Yeah. Oh, like I know that move. I know that move. How long did you stay at this?
So I was there. I think I was there for like a year and a half for the first time, because then like it was my senior year. So like at that point, like I applied to a whole bunch of colleges, and then I went to Cal State San Marcos. Like I got accepted there. Okay. It was like at that point it was like pretty new, and it was like near San Diego. So like I moved down there with a buddy. And I actually kind of, so that place I was working at had like a management company for the food program. So I got to transfer down to a place in San Diego to work as a server. So like, I went down there thinking that, you know, I was going to school trying to figure out like where in the medical field I was going to be. Like maybe I'd be a nurse, maybe I'd be like a PA, physician's assistant. I didn't really want to be a doctor, but, you know, I went to school down there, and I think the most exciting part was like moving out on my own. Yeah. You know, and like, oh, I could do my own grocery shopping. You know, like that was like the coolest thing for me. I was like, cool, I get to go to like Vons by myself.
I'll buy all the chips, Mom.
Yeah, all the chips, you know. Like, I'm going to buy that fried chicken tonight.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But for me, it was cool because also like, you know, my whole life, like going to my grandparents' house and like, I don't remember like it being a specific day. I just remember every time we went over, like all my aunts and uncles would be there, and my grandma would cook like, you know, it'd be tostadas or just like cook, like just entertain, you know, and like every holiday was at their house and all those things. So, like for me, I was really looking forward to being able to do that for people too. Yeah, you know, and so like I used to host like movie nights with people and things like that, and call my grandma for recipes or look things up, and like that was the coolest thing for me. And I think it wasn't until I started to do that, and like even though I was a server, like I still enjoyed being around the kitchen and talking to the chefs like at the places I was at. Yeah. That I really realized like, oh, this is what I want to do. You know, like I wasn't really doing well at San Marcos. Like I was never really that great of a student anyways, and like having the ability to like in college, they don't care if you show up or not. You know, like it is what it is.
You
know,
paid the money. Baby.
Yeah. Like that teacher's taken care of. You know, exactly. Like you don't show up for your 8 a.m. math class, like it's not his problem. Yeah. You know, they're not gonna like give you an absent ballot or whatever. So for me, it wasn't really what I wanted to do, and I guess like, I just like wasn't into like that kind of structure. Yeah. So, you know, when I went to college and like started to cook for people, and like, you know, it was just like little things that like was great about it. Like someone being excited about, like, I remember this is stupid, but I remember my roommate, like we like cooked mac and cheese, and I was like, oh, we can add bacon in it. You know, and that was like a big deal. I was like, oh my gosh, like bacon, like we can add this into the mac and cheese. And it's like, that was like revolutionary. You know? Yeah. And I remember watching Top Chef that season too, that year. And it was like the one with Brian Voltaggio and Michael Voltaggio. And it was like, there was some badass chefs on that like season, you know, and you're like, this is what I want to do. Yeah. And I remember looking into the CIA and like a whole bunch of other culinary schools and stuff like that. So for me, it was like I knew I was done